Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm back to break down this 10-game MLB DFS slate on DraftKings and FanDuel. Before we get into it, if you do enjoy the content at any point in this video, if you could please leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell, that would be greatly appreciated. That way you don't miss any content that I upload. I'll be here all MLB season long breaking down these MLB DFS slates to help you guys become better MLB DFS players, to help you guys win some money night in and night out. We've had a few big winners in the comments, in the Patreon package recently, so glad to hear it. People messaging me, tweeting at me, all of the above. If you are interested in some further content from me, I do offer a premium package. There's a link below in the description. You get access to all the tools that I use when building my own lineup, things like my starting pitcher data sheet, hot hitter StatCast data, team hitting data, bullpen data, my power rankings, and my cheat sheet. Just check that out if interested. And then don't forget to stay tuned to the end of the video for my home run call of the day. And if we hit the like goal, which is going to be 50 likes, you'll get my dark horse play of the day. We did not hit that last video. But on the bright side, you do get a free home run pick from me, because yesterday it was projected that Justin Dunn was going to be the starting pitcher for the Seattle Mariners. It actually ended up being Kikuchi, and I had mentioned I really like Cory Siegel against Justin Dunn, and Cory Siegel gets to take on Justin Dunn tonight. So there you go. You get a free home run pick, because I'm not going to pick Siegel twice in a row. So I like him a lot tonight. Obviously, we'll get into that as we continue the breakdown. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it today. As always, let's go ahead and sort my sheet by carry. It's fantasy sports. We get points for strikeouts, and the top pitcher on the slate today is going to be Garrett Cole, taking on the Tampa Bay Rays. We're going to break down the pitchers we like first, guys, if you're new to the channel, and then we'll get into the bats. Garrett Cole, 38.3% carry overall, 16.2 swinging strike rate, 34.8% carry rate against righties, and then a 42% carry rate against lefties. Really, really good across the board. Absolutely dominant, and he's taking on a Tampa Bay Rays team who really, quite frankly, is not scaring me lately. There's been a lot of strikeouts to be had up and down this lineup, and it's in the Trop and Tampa Bay, which is a great pitcher's environment. Looking at the chart here that I always like to pull up for you guys, give you a visual. Tropicana Field, a lot of red going on for those hitters. Great pitching environment, and that's going to make Garrett Cole an even better play than he typically would be, if he had to pitch in Yankee Stadium. $12K on FanDuel over on DraftKings. They're going to price that 10.5, and top pitch on the slate for sure. Second guy on the list, we got Brandon Woodruff taking on the St. Louis Cardinals. 30.2% carry overall, 12.3 swinging strike rate, 30.1% carry rate against righties, and then a 30.3% carry rate against lefties. Really good across the board in the ground ball, the fly ball, all of that stuff. And honestly, I think Brandon Woodruff's a guy that's a little bit underrated around the league. Like, he's not talked about. I've been playing him a lot this year, and it seems like every time I'm playing him, I'm getting at lower ownership than I would anticipate, and it just, like, this guy's really good. He comes in at 10.6 on FanDuel over on DraftKings. They got him priced at 9.8. Like, all the advanced metrics, all the underlying stats, they really line up for this guy. Taking on a St. Louis Cardinals team that doesn't strike out the most, but I had interest in Freddie Peralta last night. Based on a pure talent aspect and strikeouts, if you have a 30% K rate, you can really strike out anyone. We have the same situation here with Woodruff tonight. 30% K rate or higher against both sides of the plate. Ground ball, fly ball, slugging, all that stuff taken care of. So while this Cardinals team isn't exactly the best matchup, I mean, the Milwaukee Brewers offense is terrible, and they're a 175 favorite in this one. So if that doesn't tell you something, Woodruff is really good. So he's number 2 on the slate. We got Andrew Keaney taking on the Houston Astros. It's going to be a really tough matchup for Keaney. He's been really good on the season, but 28.7% K rate overall, a 29.3% K rate against righties, and then a 27% K rate against lefties. Problem is, he's taking on a Houston Astros team that's just really, really good. They don't really strike out. Comes in as a plus 100 underdog, priced at 8.1 on FanDuel, and over on DraftKings, he's 9.1. Can you go there? Yeah, I'm going to have a hard time going there today when we have some other guys that we'll discuss. And that next guy is going to be Zack taking on the Miami Marlins. Comes in with a 28.4% carry rate overall, a 32.2% carry rate against righties, and then a 24.3% carry rate against lefties. And taking on a Miami Marlins squad who I mentioned, we're going to talk about why we like him more, much more friendly matchup than taking on those Houston Astros. Priced very similarly to Andrew Heaney, and I would much rather go here today to Zack Gallen if I'm picking between the two. Picking on a Miami Marlins squad that I think there's going to be plenty of K rate to go around up and down this lineup. Over on DraftKings, you got Gallen priced at 9K versus Heaney 9.1, and on FanDuel, you got Gallen priced at 8.2 versus Heaney at 8.1. So, if I'm comparing those guys 1v1 as to who I'm playing in my lineups, it's definitely going to be Zack Gallen. So he'd be my third guy I'm looking to today. John Curtis taking on the Arizona Diamondbacks. I'm not really sure how long of a leash this guy's going to have. I'm not even sure if he's going to start. It's one of those situations where we don't have a true starter announced, which unfortunately has been happening quite frequently, and then they announce it later on in the day. So it might be a bullpen game here for Miami. It might be a late announced starter. If it is Curtis, he's much better against left-handed hitting than he is right-handed hitting. Gives up a 464 slugging to righties. So as far as the Arizona Diamondbacks lineup is concerned, you know, they do have quite a few switch hitters, so maybe you could play him, but I just don't think his leash is going to be long enough to really make him viable unless we find that our lineup construction is leading us to just having all the top bats on the slate, and we are willing to take the sacrifice of the pitching points at the position. But I find that hard to believe on a slate with guys like Garrett Cole, Brandon Woodruff, Andrew Keaney, you know, Zack, who we discussed. Those guys are going to have some pretty high ceilings. Colin McHugh expected to open against the New York Yankees, and then they're going to switch it over to Ryan Yarbrough. Yarbrough I won't really be looking to. He doesn't have a very high K rate against right-handed hitting, and the Yankees are a very right-handed heavy team, so you can skip over those guys, really. But you can break those down when we get to bats. Eduardo Rodriguez taking on the Oakland Athletics, a team that's really, really good against left-handed pitching. He does have a pretty decent K rate overall, though, a 24.3% K rate against righties and then a 26.4% K rate against lefties. You could argue that Eduardo is a viable play today for sure. He's definitely going to have the upside. Can be a little bit wild at times, which can make his pitch count climb very early in the game. But priced in the mid-range with the upside that he has, you know, I would have no issues with you going to him in a tournament lineup for sure. He's not going to be the top option on the slate, but definitely not the worst option. Julio Urias taking on the Seattle Mariners, another guy that's a really talented pitcher that's taken on a team that's really not good. Seattle Mariners, plenty of strikeouts to go up and down their lineup, a 24.5% K overall, 13.1 swinging strike rate. That's fourth highest on the slate. 22.8% K rate against righties, and then a 28.3% K rate against lefties. Doesn't exactly have the top K rate on the slate, but overall just a solid pitcher. When looking at the Vegas lines, he's expected to pick up the win pretty easily in this one. A 264 favorite, so a guy that's expected to get the win pretty easily, has good stuff, and he has a great matchup. No issues if you land on Urias tonight. Max Fried taking on the Toronto Blue Jays. Not going to be at the top of my list. Not the worst. Good pitcher overall. Could definitely have a decent game. Just the Toronto Blue Jays aren't the best matchup. Same rule is going to apply for Ryu. You know, they could probably limit the offenses, but are they going to really have that huge upside game? Probably not. We got James Caprielian. No idea how to pronounce that. Apologies for the butchering of his name, but James Caprielian taking on the Boston Red Sox. So only a 3 innings pitch sample size. Really not sure what we're going to see out of this kid. These numbers are pretty irrelevant on my sheet right now, to be honest with you. And yeah, I mean, as far as these situations, I like to go ahead and rely on Vegas data because Vegas is very good at what they do, and the Red Sox do have a 4.92 implied run total. So, you know, I don't think I'm going to be playing this guy. It's a matter of whether I'm going to be playing the Boston Bats, if we can get to them when we get to them. Only a 3 innings pitch sample size as well, so not very relevant data for him. And I'm actually going to take him off the sheet real quick to make sure you guys aren't distracted by those numbers because that's only a 3 innings pitch sample size. It's not relevant. So moving further along, Zack Wheeler taking on Washington has been a really good pitcher overall in his career as far as ground ball and fly ball stuff. The problem is he just doesn't really strike out that many hitters. He always seems to get a lot of ownership. Like last time out, he had a really good game, and that particular slate, I forget. He was taking on the Milwaukee Brewers, and there was another pitcher in the same range as him that I really, really liked. And Wheeler got like way more ownership, and I was blown away by it. Wheeler ended up getting there at the end, but throughout the slate, I was looking pretty good. I'm having my pitcher. I forget who it was, unfortunately, but I think it was Woodruff. It was Brandon Woodruff. The same we discussed earlier. So, anyways, when you look at Zack Wheeler's numbers, he's a 22.9% K rate overall. Like Woodruff has a 30% K rate, and I really liked Woodruff, and I played him instead. And Woodruff was like blowing him away the whole slate. Like I had like 20 points up on him, and then Wheeler was able to get there through pitch count and just staying in the game longer, and the Brewers striking out a lot. So, anyway, side rant. But my point being, like Wheeler tends to get a lot of ownership, but he doesn't have the highest K rate. So he's really reliant on matchup. Like the Milwaukee Brewers are one of the best possible matchups you can get. The Washington Nationals are not going to be as friendly as a matchup for Wheeler. So I think he can go out there and pitch a good game for sure. I just don't tend to be like heavily exposed to this guy in tournaments because, I mean, he's priced at 9.4 on FanDuel. Over on DraftKings, they're going to price at 9.5. Once again, like if I'm picking between him and Woodruff, I'm going up 300 to Woodruff without even blinking an eye. Because you know, it's fantasy sport. It's fantasy sports. We get points for strikeouts, as I always say. And it's the truth. Like in that situation, I'm taking the guy with the 8% higher K rate. So that's just my personal, little bit of a rant there. But I just wanted to fill you guys in on my thought process when it comes to things like that and ownership and all that stuff. Danny Duffy and John Gant are going to be the two guys we'll round things out with here based strictly on strikeout rate. I guess John Lester you could be playing as well, taking on Philadelphia. These three teams that I'm about to mention that these guys are taking on have a lot of strikeouts in their lineup. Danny Duffy taking on the Detroit Tigers. They're striking out a ton. He has 22.6% K rate overall, 21.9% K rate against righties, and then a 25.1% K rate against lefties. And I think this is a situation where you could probably play the Detroit Bats as well, but they only have a 3.77 applied run total. Duffy's been really good. He's 10-2 on FanDuel and over on DraftKings. They got him priced at 8-9. And you can't get a much better matchup than taking on the Detroit Tigers. They've just been terrible, striking out a ton, so I like Duffy in tournaments. John Gant, same was going to apply to him. 22.2% K rate overall, 23.6% K rate against righties, and then a 19.9% K rate against lefties. But he's taking on a Milwaukee Brewers team that just strikes out a ton. So it's going to automatically make him viable. The Brewers, the Tigers, the Mariners, some top teams that we wanted to target, and the Philadelphia Phillies have also been striking out a ton. John Lester, a guy that I do like to target with bats, but I also could be playing him in tournaments. So, and with that being said, let's go ahead and transition over to bats. As always, I like to sort my sheet by Sierra, skill interactive ERA. It's a good way of determining how good a pitcher's been so far and how good they're expected to be. And the worst on the slate is Justin Dunn. If you watched my video yesterday, we kind of already broke this down, but the guy doesn't have any ability to strike really anyone out. Ground ball, fly ball stuff's terrible. 279 slugging given up to righties. He's actually been really good at limiting the hard contact against right-handed bats, but against the lefties, he has been really, really bad all the way across the board. Gotta love the Dodgers lefties tonight. I was on them last night. As mentioned, I liked Cory Siegel a lot. He was my home run call. Not going to be my home run call tonight just because I don't want to double up on that, but like I said, you kind of get a free home run call because I love the spot for Seager. I mentioned all the numbers during yesterday's breakdown. Seager, Max Muncy, Matthew Beatty, Gavin Lux, any lefty that cracks the lineup I'm going to like, and I have no issues with you targeting the righties either. His numbers are a lot better against righties, but the ground ball and fly ball stuff's still really bad, and the Dodgers just have a bunch of talent up and down their lineup. And they have a 5.05 implied run total, so you got to like the Dodgers tonight. Casey Mize taking on the Kansas City Royals. Same exact pitcher, almost really good against righties. He's much better against righties than Justin Dunn is, but against lefties, he's terrible. He's even worse than Justin Dunn against lefties. A 589 slugging, giving up a 418 WOBA. Ground ball, fly ball stuff's all terrible. Taking on a Kansas City Royals team tonight that unfortunately doesn't have the most amount of lefties, but the ones that do crack the lineup, we're going to have a lot of interest in. Guys like Andrew Benintendi, Carlos Santana. Nicky Lopez at the bottom is really bad. So, unfortunately, this Royals lineup is very right-handed heavy, which means we could make a case for playing Casey Mize in tournaments. He only has a 19% K rate against righties, but maybe you could be playing him in tournaments. But the left-handed bats that crack the lineup for the Royals, you know, most notably Carlos Santana in the 4 spot. It's going to be a great play tonight. Unfortunately, the Royals don't have any more lefties they can really offer, but that's the situation with Casey Mize. John Gant taking on the Milwaukee Brewers. He's actually a guy that, like, he just allows the ball to be put in play a lot because his K rate's not that high, but his slugging isn't that bad against either handedness of hitting, so I'm not really looking to target him all too much, and the Milwaukee Brewers just really aren't that talented of a lineup. As far as allowing the ball to be put in play, you could be playing guys with a lot of power like Daniel Vogelbach, Tyrone Taylor, Travis Shaw, just because of the power they have. Billy McKinney as well. And it's in Milwaukee, which plays very friendly to left-handed hitting down that right field line. I'll pull it up for you guys. As you can see, the diagram, the right field line. I always like to target those lefties in Miller Park, so maybe you could be playing some lefties off John Gant. Not too excited. Chicago White Sox taking on Jay Happ, a guy that allows a lot of hard contact to right-handed hitting, and the Chicago White Sox are a team that traditionally just mashes left-handed pitching, so I'm going to have a lot of interest in them today. Strikeout rate isn't the greatest. He gives up a 463 slugging to righties with a 326 WOBA, 43.9% fly ball rate, a 35.5% ground ball rate. Really going to like the Chicago White Sox power right-handed bats tonight for sure. Only problem is it's in Chicago and it's only 54 degrees outside with 5-mile-an-hour winds blowing in. Not the best hitting environment, but I mean, with the power that these guys offer and the matchup, I don't care. Tim Anderson, Yohan Moncada, Jose Abreu, Yasmani Grandal, Yerman Mercedes, Andrew Vaughn, Lourdes Garcia, like, great lineup against left-handed pitching, especially when the guy's giving up as much hard contact as J.A. Happ does. Got to really like these guys, specifically Tim Anderson and Jose Abreu. You're going to pay up for him, but both those guys just mash left-handed pitching, and you got to like them tonight. John Lester taking on Philadelphia. I had mentioned targeting him with right-handed power bats. Same was going to apply. He's not that great against lefties either, but a 467 slugging given to righties with a 339 WOBA. Definitely going to like some Philadelphia right-handed power bats tonight. Looking at their lineup, what they're rolling out tonight, we have Andrew McCutchen, Gene Segura, Alec Boehm, Rhys Hoskins, all great. Bryce Harper's a guy that I always mention. I don't mind playing against left-handed pitching at all. He's really good against lefties, just like righties. Unlike some lefties that can't quite adjust, Bryce Harper still has the power. You know, his K rate may climb as far as against lefties, but I don't care. The power's there, and we're playing tournaments, so if he's going to strike out, he's going to strike out. But I want home run hitters, and I think he's a viable option. Jose Urquidy taking on the Los Angeles Angels is a very reverse splitsy pitcher. He is a right-handed pitcher that struggles more so against right-handed hitting. A 495 slugging, giving up a 348 WOBA. Against lefties, he's much better. And the Los Angeles Angels have a pretty good right-handed hitter you may have heard of before named Mike Trout. So Trout's going to be in a great spot tonight taking on Urquidy. Comes in at 4.5 on FanDuel. Going to pay up for him, of course, on both sites. But you got to like him, and then you can fill out your stacks with guys like Justin Upton, Taylor Ward, David Fletcher. Not the prettiest of stacks, and honestly, I'm not really getting all too excited to play anyone on this team outside of Trout, but Trout's in a great spot tonight for sure. Danny Duffy, you can play bats against him. The Detroit Tigers, unfortunately, don't really have the best bats, but they do have a couple that mash left-handed pitching, most notably Jonathan Scope. If we pull the lineup here, unfortunately, Wilson Ramos is out right now on the 10-day IL. He's a guy that I would really have a lot of interest in, but he's out. So I'm going to like Scope a lot at the top of the order. Jaime Candelario is pretty good against lefties. Nico Goodrum. Jacoby Jones at the bottom of the order has been really good against lefties. So Danny Duffy's been really good, and I do have some interest in playing him in tournaments, but I also do think that the Tigers could be a low-owned stack that could pay off for you. Dallas Keuchel taking on Minnesota is a very good ground ball, fly ball pitcher, so I'm not really looking to target him. He doesn't strike a lot of people out, but he does a really good job of keeping the ball on the ground. Traditionally, these Minnesota Twins do really rake left-handed pitching, though, so it's like kind of tough. Like I could see myself playing this lineup anyways and just hoping they get the ball airborne because, I mean, both of these lineups are designed to really mash left-handed pitching, and we have two lefties taking the bump in this one. Kyle Garlick, Josh Donaldson, Nelson Cruz, Mitch Garver, like those top four guys absolutely destroy left-handed pitching. And then you got Jorge Polanco's a switch hitter. Miguel Sano crushes lefties. 1 through 6, there's a bunch of power. So it's a tough predicament here because Keuchel is a really good ground ball, fly ball guy. I typically won't target him, but not in the best of spots here taking on Minnesota. So possibly some Minnesota stacks interest for me. Brian Yarbrough taking on the New York Yankees. Pretty good across the board, honestly. Ground ball, fly ball stuff's all pretty good. He does give up a 379 slugging to righties. And more notably, he doesn't really strike anyone out. Only a 19.4% K rate, and he's taking on a very right-handed heavy New York lineup that can really get to any lefty that takes the bump. Going to be interested to see their run total. It's tough. I really don't like stacking against Yarbrough that much, but he's going to have his hands full with guys like DJ LeMahieu, Giancarlo Stanton, Aaron Judge, Gio Urshela, Luke Voigt, Gleyber Torres, like all up and down. Clint Frazier and Kyle Higashioka at the bottom of the order also crush left-handed pitching. So similar to the Dallas Keuchel situation we just talked about, like typically the guy that I really don't want to target. It's not the best hitting environment either in Tampa, but same thing. The Yankees lineup is really designed to hit left-handed pitching well. The Minnesota Twins is the same thing. So like you can't rule them out. It's just a tough spot to be like fully promoting all in on. And the opener, Colin McHugh, if he does open, you can see he's really bad against right-handed bats as well. So that makes it a little more appealing. A 520 slugging given up against righties with a 357 WOBA and a 33.6% ground ball rate. He's a lot better against left-handed hitting. So if we get confirmation that Colin McHugh is indeed the opener, that makes things even more interesting because these right-handed bats at the top of the lineup could get things going early against McHugh. So tough call there, but the Yankees stack's definitely viable. And then moving further along, things get a lot better here pretty quickly. Not really looking to target any of these pitchers. The last two that you could be targeting is Andrew Keaney and Max Fried, both left-handed pitchers taking on pretty right-handed heavy lineups that give up some slugging to right-handed hitters. So Max Fried taking on it's Max Fried, I believe, not Max Fried. I don't know why I say Fried. .434 slugging, giving up a .330 WOBA against those right-handed hitters, and Toronto does have quite a few righties in their lineup. You know, a guy like Teoscar Hernandez mashes left-handed pitching in the 4 spot. Randall Grichuk mashes lefties. Lourdes Gurriel's been really good against lefties traditionally. Marcus Semeny at the top of the order has been good against lefties. Once again, a lineup that's designed to hit well, but a ground ball guy that does a pretty good job getting the ball on the ground. You're seeing a theme here. Max Fried, Dallas Keuchel, Ryan Yarbrough. It's going to be tough, but then you got Andrew Keaney taking on these Houston Astros, who doesn't do a good job of keeping the ball on the ground. Does give up quite a few slugging numbers to right-handed hitting, a .421 slugging with a 44.9% hard contact rate. And he's one guy that we can for sure go ahead and say, you know, we're confident in the Astros being able to get the ball airborne. He does have a much higher K rate than these other guys, though, a 29.3% K rate. So we could see some more strikeouts out of these Houston bats. And so that's the disclaimer on this stack. But guys like Jose Altuve, Alex Bregman, Ulysses Gurriel, Carlos Correa, all great plays in this particular spot. And you can use Martin Maldonado and Miles Straw to round out your stacks. And with that being said, that is my overall breakdown of this 10-game slate. Before I let you guys go, I got to give you my home run call of the day. Let's get into it. And my home run call of the day today is going to be Tim Anderson taking on J.A. Happ. I had mentioned his issues against right-handed hitting. Really bad across the board in the hard contact, the slugging, the ground ball, the fly ball, a .463 slugging getting up to right-handed hitting. Only a 35.5% ground ball rate against those right-handed hitters with a 19.4% K rate. Doesn't really strike anyone out, gives up a lot of hard contact, and is very reliant on the fastball. On average, throws about a 91 to 92 mile-an-hour fastball, and Anderson crushes that pitch. A 360 ISO with a 439 WOBA. Love the spot for Tim Anderson tonight, and he is my home run call of the day. So there you have it, guys. Tim Anderson, get him in your lineups. Power, speed, all the above, and a great matchup taking on J. Happ today. Love the call, and that is all for me in this one. If you enjoyed the content, if you could please leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. That would be greatly appreciated. Wish you guys all the best of luck tonight, and we will see you in the next one.